WHAS11 Weather First.
Happy Halloween. There you go.
Thank you.
Right now on the WHAS11 night team, this is now such a holiday Halloween tradition that generations of families are returning year to year. Hillcrest Avenue in Crescent Hill is the haunted paradise for many in Louisville. Homeowners that go all out with frightening decorations in their yards and tons of candy. And stick around here on the night team. Our photojournalist spends some time there tonight. His look at all of the apparitions of the night coming right up. Hello, everybody, and I hope you had a safe and fun Halloween night. I'm Doug Prophet. Let's check in with meteorologist Colleen Peterson. Now, Colleen, you know I love snow, but some of our Oldham County viewers are telling me they actually saw light snow flurries while trick-or-treating tonight.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We did have a few reports of some flurries, not here in the metro, but that's off farther to the north and likely going to stay to the north. That low pressure system in northern Indiana, but a few of those flurries made its way farther south. Right now on the radar, it's very light, but over North Vernon, you have some flurries over you right now. And just about an hour ago, we did see some indications around Paoli, English, areas west of Louisville, seeing some flurries, but it kind of faded away once it head towards Louisville. We're not cold enough here. We're at 37 degrees, but areas that are in the mid-30s could see some flurries in northern or southern Indiana just across the river. Below freezing at 32 in E-Town, already at 31 in Lebanon. So those rural communities are cooling off. Thankfully, that wind is not as bad as what it was earlier. Right now, it feels like the upper 20s, around 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's another cold day in store. I'm talking about some warmer temperatures this weekend. I'll have that information in 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Colleen. And all new tonight, now on the night team. It took 41 years, but tonight Indiana State Police are saying case closed. A murder solved on the same day it happened, Halloween. WHAS11 night team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Addie Hill are in Seymour, Indiana, where they talk to the victim's family and Indiana State Police after 41 long years.
It's been a long time coming for Clifford Smith's family in Seymour, Indiana. On Halloween, October 31, 1982, Smith was shot in the head at age 24. 41 years later to the date, Indiana State Police make an arrest. 61-year-old Ronald J. Anderson, now charged with Smith's death.
I'm glad that they finally are bringing a closure to this, allowing us to let our brother rest in peace.
Indiana State Police say Clifford Smith's body was discovered near this area along the Wright River in 1982. Leonard Smith is Clifford's brother. He was just 22 when Clifford died. He says Ronald Anderson is Smith's brother-in-law.
We've always said that that's who done it. Our whole family, we knew that he done it.
ISP says in the late hours on October 30th, 1982, Anderson and Smith were at a house together. Anderson took a gun from the home and left with Smith in a vehicle, and he was never seen alive after that night. Police say this case has been passed down to new investigators over the years.
Combining it with more recent investigative techniques, and it ultimately led to where we had enough information to present the case to the prosecutor.
This led to an arrest warrant for 61-year-old Ronald Anderson of Seymour. Although the case has been solved, Smith says it's hard to forgive someone who killed his brother.
But how can you live for 41 years knowing you killed somebody?
Sergeant Stephen Wills says the help of technology and fresh sets of eyes looking at the case help provide answers.
But I imagine it's kind of a sigh of relief after all these years to finally get that word that an arrest has been made in the death of their loved one.
Wills says ISP hopes to provide answers to other families with cold cases. In Seymour, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
So one big question still remains tonight. Why was Clifford Smith shot and killed? That answer is still unclear tonight, and more specific information could be revealed in future court appearances in this case. Former Louisville Metro Police Detective Brent Hankerson back in federal court today as attorneys work to select a federal jury for his trial. Hankerson is accused of using excessive force and violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights when he blindly fired 10 shots into her apartment. Some of those bullets also went into a neighboring apartment. Today, attorneys and Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings interviewed a new set of potential jurors. This is in addition to the group interviewed yesterday. Judge Jennings did not share if anyone has been chosen to be seated on the jury. A man accused of destroying a cabin and an historic site in Clarksville, Indiana on the Ohio River has pleaded guilty. Clark County Prosecutor Jeremy Mole says Jason Foss pleaded guilty to arson. Foss set the cabin at the George Rogers Clark home site on fire in May of 2021. It was a replica of Clark's original retirement home. The original Clark cabin was destroyed in the 1800s, but it was rebuilt and moved to Clarksville in 2001. Mole says Foss will be sentenced on November 27th. He faces up to 12 years in prison. The trial for the Indiana man charged with killing 2 teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana, is now being delayed to next October. That's right, 1 year from this month. It was originally scheduled for January. During a hearing, the judge officially removed Richard Allen's former court-appointed defense attorneys. She had previously said that they would be withdrawing amid questions about evidence security. Allen has 2 new attorneys who were appointed last week. Allen is charged with 2 counts of murder in the 2017 deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. He has pleaded not guilty. Happening tonight, in fact, released just 1 hour ago at 10 o'clock, the report card on Kentucky's public schools, along with the new JCPS score data. It's the report that gives parents an idea of how students here in Jefferson County are doing compared to the rest of the state. WHAS 1119's Alex Dieterer has spent the evening breaking down what it shows for families. Alex?
The Kentucky Department of Education added new features to the state accountability system this year to measure how schools are doing. This means we can't compare this 2022-2023 school year data to previous years, but state education leaders say schools are still trying to bounce back from all of the challenges during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Let's face it, Kentucky kids and their families have been through a lot.
The new data just released by the Kentucky Department of Education, the assessment of Jefferson County public school students, shows an all-time high graduation rate at JCPS high schools. But at 87%, that's lower than the statewide rate of nearly 92%.
When we talk about our future state, I want to be clear. I think these are signs that we are moving in the right direction.
JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio says every student group across the school district increased in reading proficiency, with the largest growth seen in elementary schools. 81% of elementary schools increased reading and math scores.
We want to continue to see is that continued growth and improvement in literacy and numeracy. And especially amongst our students of color, we want to see that gap reduce.
There are some troubling numbers. Across Kentucky, nearly 30% of students qualified as chronically absent, meaning they attended less than 90% of school. This has been a constant trend since the COVID-19 pandemic. Kentucky Department of Education Interim Commissioner Robin Fields Kinney claims absenteeism directly impacts test scores.
If we don't have students in the classroom or learning remotely, whatever way that we can access them, then the chances that they are receiving and learning from that instruction of our teachers is greatly mitigated.
Comprehensive School Improvement, or CSI status, means a school is in the bottom 5% of all schools in the state. JCPS had 9 schools exit CSI status during the academic year, but JCPS also now has the majority of the troubled schools in Kentucky. The district has 25 schools of the 28 total in the state identified as CSI status.
But we know we have a long way to go. I want to be clear about this. This is not us saying, that we have met the goals and we are where we need to be.
Polio says aligning the curriculum across all 155 schools in the district will help further improve test scores.
Well, Alex, let's go back to JCPS. As you reported, the schools in the troubled category, most of them are right here in Louisville. And that's such a big number. Of course, it is the state's biggest school system. So how does a school leave the troubled category once they've been identified?
Right, so once a school does have that CSI status, it kind of goes through a tedious process. So school goes through what's called a diagnostic review with KDE, and that looks at student performance and leadership at that school. And then once that happens, the school then builds a turnaround plan, and that plan is eligible then for federal funding. And that federal funding over the past 2 years has had JCPS go from 22 schools that have exited that CSI status, but like you said, Doug, the district still has 25 of the 28 schools in that bottom 5% category. That's nearly 90%.
All right, thank you very much, Alex. We've got a more in-depth look at the results that have just come out. Again, released at 10 o'clock tonight. So visit our website, WHAS11.com, or the free WHAS11 app. The Jefferson County School Board is now looking for a new member after longtime chairwoman Diane Porter has resigned for health reasons. Diane Porter represented District Number 1, which you can see includes much of West Louisville and downtown Louisville. She became the leader of the school board in 2012. To be eligible, you must be registered to vote in the district to represent that district. If you're interested in filling the vacancy, you must fill out an application and submit it to the board by November 28th. The school board will select from the eligible applicants by December 23rd. We've got a link for that application for you. We've made it easy at WHAS11.com.